For years, Israel has warned the world that Iran's nuclear program is a ticking time bomb. Now, it looks like the countdown has started. A limited strike is on the table. The world is watching, and what happens next could change the entire Middle East. Right now, Israeli leaders are openly discussing a limited, targeted strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. According to recent reports, the plan is real, and it's being refined behind closed doors. The goal? Delay Iran's nuclear program without starting a full-blown regional war. But here's the twist. The United States isn't on board. Washington fears a strike could destabilize the entire Middle East, spike oil prices, and drag American forces into another costly conflict. Despite this, Israel seems willing to go it alone. They're considering operations that would require little to no US assistance, everything from precision airstrikes using F-35s, to advanced cyber attacks, to covert sabotage missions led by Mossad. And while the world's attention is elsewhere, Gaza, Ukraine, Taiwan, Israeli jets are training, intelligence teams are moving, and time is running out. To understand why this moment is so dangerous, you need to look at the numbers. Right now, Iran is enriching uranium to 60% purity. That's just a technical step away from weapons grade, 90%. The international watchdog, the IAEA, says Iran has enough nuclear material to build several bombs, if it decides to take that final step. But Iran insists it's for peaceful energy. Israel doesn't believe that for a second. Diplomacy stalled. The nuclear deal that once kept Iran in check? Basically dead. Negotiators have walked away, and the clock is ticking. In Israel's eyes, the risk of waiting has become greater than the risk of striking first. Because if Iran crosses that threshold, it's not just a threat to Israel, it's a whole new arms race in the Middle East. This wouldn't be the first time Israel strikes a nuclear facility. In fact, it's done it before, and gotten away with it. 1981, Operation Opera. Israeli jets fly deep into Iraq and destroy Saddam Hussein's Osirak nuclear reactor. One strike, no warning, and it worked. 2007, Operation Orchard. Israeli F-15s slip into Syrian airspace and flatten a secret nuclear reactor near the Euphrates River. The world found out after it was already rubble. And when it comes to Iran, Israel's been running a shadow war for years. The Stuxnet virus, developed with the US, crippled Iran's centrifuges. The Natanz explosion in 2020, widely blamed on Mossad. And more recently, Iranian scientists assassinated in broad daylight. Mysterious blasts inside military sites. Entire sabotage campaigns with no fingerprints. For Israel, stopping Iran's nuclear program isn't new. It's policy, and it's personal. Here's the twist. This time, Israel might not want to strike first. It wants the US to do it. Why? Simple. If Israel attacks Iran directly, it risks immediate retaliation from missiles, drones, and Iran's proxies like Hezbollah and the Houthis. But if the US hits Iran's nuclear facilities, Israel can stay on the sidelines, at least in the public eye, and avoid being dragged into a regional war. Behind closed doors, Israeli intelligence has been feeding Washington detailed reports about Iran's progress, warning that the nuclear threshold is dangerously close. Some insiders say Israel is quietly lobbying the US to carry out a limited strike, just enough to set back Iran's nuclear program without starting a full-blown war. And with American bases already positioned across the region, in Iraq, Syria, the Gulf, and even the Red Sea, the US military has the reach and firepower to do it. But the stakes are massive. If Washington takes the shot, Iran could still retaliate, not just against US troops, but against Israel anyway. So while Israel might be hoping to stay in the shadows this time, it may not be able to hide for long. An Israeli strike on Iran would send shockwaves through the entire globe, especially the Middle East. First, oil. Iran is a key player in global energy. Even if Israel's strike is surgical, oil prices could skyrocket. The Strait of Hormuz, where a third of the world's oil passes, would be a target for Iran's retaliation. Next, the US would find itself in a delicate position. If American assets or troops are hit by Iranian-backed forces, Washington may have no choice but to intervene. But with US troops already stretched thin in Syria and Iraq, it could escalate quickly into a full-blown confrontation. What about the Arab world? Countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, who see Iran as a major threat, might welcome Israel's actions, quietly. But publicly, they'll have to play both sides, supporting the Arab Street while avoiding conflict with Tehran. Then there's Russia and China. Both nations have strategic interests in the region and strong ties with Iran. Any attack on Iran would risk pushing them closer together, and closer to conflict with the West. And don't forget, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. These groups are all proxies of Iran, and they could launch attacks on Israel and its allies. What starts as a targeted strike could easily spiral into a regional war. The world might never be the same if Israel moves against Iran. We're talking about the possibility of an all-out Middle Eastern conflict, one that could redefine global alliances and reshape the geopolitics of the 21st century. Israel says, never again. Iran says, we won't back down. If history repeats itself, the next strike might already be in motion. The only question is, will it be the spark that lights the fire?